Mr. Slow 呀，这个 Slow 长了什么？
胡子。
长了胡子了。Mr. Slow, as you may well know, or maybe you don't, lived next door to Mr. Busy. He'd built his house himself, slowly. It had taken him 10 years. And as you may well know, or maybe you don't, Mr. Slow talked in an extraordinarily slow way. He talked like this. And every single thing he did was as slow as the way he talked. For instance, if Mr. Slow was writing his book about himself, you wouldn't be able to read it. He won't even have got as far as this page. For instance, if Mr. Slow was eating a currant cake for tea, it took him until bedtime. He'd eat it crumb by crumb, chewing each crumb and each crumb 100 times. For instance, last Christmas, it took Mr. Slow until New Year's Day to open his Christmas present. And then it took him until Easter to write his thank you letter. Oh, he was a slow man. Now this story is about the time Mr. Slow went on a picnic with Mr. Busy. That's another story. No, this story is about the time Mr. Slow decided to get a job. He read all the job advertisements in the Sunday paper, which took him until Wednesday, and then he went and got himself a job reading the news on television. Can you imagine? It was very embarrassing. Good evening, said Mr. Slow. Here is the 9 o'clock news. It took him until midnight to read it, and everybody who was watching went to sleep. So that job wasn't any good, was it? Then Mr. Slow got himself a job as a taxi driver. Take me to the railway station, cried Mr. Happy, as he leaped into his taxi. I have a train to catch at 3 o'clock. Right-o, said Mr. Slow, and set off at 1 mile an hour, and arrived at the station at 4 o'clock. So that job wasn't any good, was it? And that summer, Mr. Slow got a job making ice cream. But by the time he had made the ice cream, it wasn't exactly the right sort of weather to be selling ice cream. Brrr! 他从夏天卖到冬天。So Mr. Slow got himself a job making woolly scarves. But by the time he finished making the scarves, it wasn't exactly the right sort of weather to be spelling scarves. Phew! Poor Mr. Slow. He went around to ask the other Mr. Man what he should do. Being a racing driver, suggested Mr. Silly. Can you imagine? No. Being an engine driver, suggested Mr. Funny. Can you imagine? No. Be a speedboat driver, suggested Mr. Can you imagine? No, no, no. But then Mr. Happy had an extremely good idea, most sensible. being a steamroller driver, he suggested. And today, that is exactly what Mr. Slow does. Slowly backwards and slowly forwards he drives. Up and down, down and up, even so slow. The next time you see a steamroller doing that, look and see if Mr. Slow is driving it. If he is, you shout to him, "Hello, Mr. Snow, are you having a nice time?" And he will wave and shout back to you. Yes, thank you. He will shout. Goodbye.